my jumble stack bisque fire load from last night. It's at 200 now. I just opened it. I'm going to let it cool on down before I start pulling pieces out. But from what I can see, everything's looking pretty good. I would have put more on the top. I still had some space, but I didn't want to press my luck too much. So I'll be unloading in a minute and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's cooled down. I'm going to start unloading. And my first piece is my beautiful woman. She's hollow backed. She came out perfect. No warping, no issues. I'm extremely happy with that. This is just a bisque form that I made from this paper mache form. I just painted it on this side to try to help seal it some from the clay. But I wound up making this form so that I wouldn't have to worry about that in the future. And I actually put some carving in there, if you can see, so that if I lay a sheet for the back in the future, it's got a pattern in there if I want to do it that way. So that came out great. Some little fun things that a friend of mine made. This isn't attached, so I'll have to hold it on there. It's just little hearts that they made in a little class, her and her daughters. They came out perfect. And now for the real deals. My wall sconces. I have a ton of these in the bottom. I put these on the bottom because even though they're little wall sconces and they're hollow, they're actually quite sturdy the way that they're built. So I figured they would do well down there. And I stack them mainly on their sides like this, together back to back. But a couple of them are on top, like this one was laying on top. Easy does it. Here's another one. Perfect. No cracking, no issues. Came out perfect. Here's another one. This one has so many appendages on it. I don't know if you can see that. Light's terrible in here, I know. But so I put this one on the outside so that these could be free and not be brushed up against anything. Another face. Love it. Again, no cracking, no warpage. Perfect. Another one. This is a simpler one. You want to be on the video? Do you want to be on the video?
No, I won't.
There's another one. No warping. Perfect. The simpler one just has some designs on there. Yes, there's some carving in there. This one was towards the middle. It's still a little bit warm, but again, no warping. No issues. More carving. No warping, no cracking. I thought I had a crack here. It's really just where I had a little scratch mark from my tool. No cracks though. Okay. This is just a little tester thing that I made. Made it like a little vase. It's a stander. Got open sides on each side, and it's got one in the middle. Just playing around with stuff. So that could be interesting. If I do some of those in the future, I'm sure I'll put like some little more embellishments on it. Doll it up. Anyways, that was another one, just playing around. I had some extra scrap and just messing around with something. It would be a cute little vase or a pencil holder or something. These are the beginnings of some, hopefully, I don't know if you can see that or not. Here we go. They're going to be necklaces, and these are just some little play around bowls. Little junk stuff that I do sometimes just to see, playing around. Here's another one that has a lot of appendages on it. And again, it came out perfect. Again, I put this one over by the wall, facing the wall, so that I could leave this to where nothing else would touch those. That came out perfect. I like that word, perfect. Makes me extremely happy. Okay, so this one I actually just decorated with a template and some dry mason stains and a brush, and I just brushed that in there, and then I rolled over it with a pony roller to try to get it in there. I see that it's still kind of could be a little bit chalky, so I have to be careful with that until I glaze it. That's interesting to know, actually, because this piece I did pretty much the same way. It just doesn't have as heavy a coating, and it's not coming off. So I guess the more you build up just powder, unless it has something to adhere to, you're going to have more problems with smudging and moving around in that mason stain. As a powder form, prior to this, I usually just use like a mason stain porcelain slip, and I only use the porcelain because number one, it's white, and so I get a truer color, and number two, it has no grog in it, so whatever I put it on, that color is smooth. These are just some little miniature bird houses that I use as ornaments. This one actually didn't have a hook on it, but I fired it anyway because I like them, and I'll use that somewhere around here. But anyways, I make a bigger version of these as a birdhouse. It's not really a functional birdhouse, but it's a cute one. All right, more just decorated pieces. So that one's perfect. Here's a little, just a little scoopy thing that I made. Again, just playing around with stuff. Sometimes I like to do these things just to, I have an idea in my head, and I'll make one and I'll go ahead and glaze it and fire it and everything else, so that I know what I want to change next time, or how it functions and how I can make it function better for what I intend it to do, those kind of things. But I think it's cute. I think it's going to be nice. There's another face, and again, it's perfect. No problems with that. I'm really stoked they all came out fine. with no issues. I was really, really worried about it all night long because this is the very first time I've ever done this, though I see a lot of other people doing it, and it kind of makes sense. And I like to get the most out of my kilns, my firings, so that I conserve energy and expend less money. I love this one. This one you can't tell at this point, but you will once it's fired with glaze fire and so forth. On all the raised edges here, everything here and here, all of this has a swash of it's actually dark brown clay slip, but it looks almost black when it's fired. So that will show up more after it's fired to completion. I'll fire to cone 6, so that's what it'll be. And it'll be a good accent, I think. We'll see. Sometimes you never know until it's done. The last sconce. Little face. I like doing the faces. I have to break it up some with some of the other abstract things because I get bored very easily. So just doing multiples over and over again is not my style. And this is another little birdhouse thing that I did. I had 2 of those that when I had made them up, that's just actually just a little half eggshell, playing around with it. I had some scrap clay and I really just wanted to play around with some mason stains on that. And then I'm going to use some latex resist with my glazes to see how that works out. Again, playing with that stuff. Those are just testers. My last 2 women. Let's see how they turned out. So far, so good. And see, this is what I'm talking about. You see the back. Of course, I call it patchwork, putting them together like I do. Then obviously this is the way it happens on the back side because I'm putting on a hump mold. Like that mold, this thing that I pulled out. And by the time I take it off of there, it's too dry to smooth out those seams and those kind of things. I like to see that on the front because I just like to see, my seams. It's attractive to me. That's the way I like to have it. But I don't so much like to see it on the back. So anyway, so one of the things that I got suggestions on was to either put a thin slab of clay on before I put these pieces on, which is a good solution. And another reason why I made that bisque template instead of using this paper mache form, because it will hold up to all that moisture, obviously. And the paper mache, not so much after time. I do one of them and it gets real sticky. Wants to stick to it too much. So I think that'll be good. Or we'll see. I mean, you know, I could just do it the way it is and then press it into that since it's got the pattern on there, and it'll kind of give me a pattern too. Or I can go in and maybe carve in here or something like that. That was another suggestion. And I do like that because then that would kind of mirror what's going on the front sometimes. On this one I did mainly slip trailing everywhere. And again, I like contrast a lot in my work. And so this coloration of this slip here is a dark brown clay. And when it fires, it's going to fire to almost black. So that one is awesome. I'm really super excited about these, and this is the last one. And see the back, so still. But I love these. I cannot wait to glaze these. I have no idea how I'm going to glaze them, but I can't wait for it. Let me get my ware table out here so I can put this on the back side. So, success. It was my very first jumble stack bisque firing, and it was a total success. I'm excited.